video response to some statements that Brandon Herrera decided to dip his toe into. If anybody's not aware of it, which shame on you, you should watch his channel at least most of the time. Brandon Herrera does Gun Meme Review, where he reviews the preposterousness of some of the things you find on the internet concerning firearms. Most of it's about misinformation. Some of it's about artistic rebuilds of guns. You know, one less AR by putting 12 barrels on it and making it shoot tapioca pudding. Just crazy stuff. And some really awesome things, in my opinion. Anybody watching my channel knows that I'm kind of into guns. Tell people to go, I don't get sponsored by them, but use SDI, Sonora Desert Institute, to learn things if you want. Or just look it up on the net and learn how to test things safely. Pro tip to anybody watching from YouTube, I'm advocating that people build what is called a test bench, test frame, test lower receiver, and more importantly, well, it's just called a blast shed for testing firearms. Because if you're going to build something nobody's ever built before, don't assume it's going to work. And a bunch of, spotty information I've given on how to do these things safely, even though they're inherently as dangerous as possible, to test things to destruction to see where things fail, so you can design away the failure points as much as possible, and then back it down to normal levels. Anyway, he decided to post, this is the second or third time he's done this, a video that includes him paying lip service to what a lot of people on the internet interpret as, and is, conservative propaganda about various groups of people to demonize. I'm going to do a little bit here on the definitions. But, Brandon, you owe everybody an apology, and yeah, you are agitating for violence. You're not going to get flagged for it. I'm not going to click any buttons on your video to do that. Nobody should. But you're parroting shit that isn't factual. It doesn't matter if you like hearing it. This is like somebody saying that a magazine and clip are the same thing. It's as basic as, this is a demonstrably untrue statement, stop doing it. And he's bringing up the idea that drag queens, transgenders, and anybody other than whatever you think is normal must be doing grooming. Now, if anybody's not aware of it, Christian fundamentalism, a little history, deliberately infiltrated the Republican Party and got caught, and it's a known thing. Doesn't matter if you like hearing it. It did. A long time ago, including putting in God we trust on money, just do it, and also under God in the Pledge of Allegiance, which at one time had a Roman salute, but let's not go there. Next, along with that comes the demonization thing. Demonization is when you decide that you're going to cause a demon to exist by blaming a group of people for something, or saying that they're demons, removing their humanity and making it easier to do horrible things to them. And religion demonizes science on the extreme end of it, whether you like hearing it or not, it does. And the more mild versions just demonize anybody who's different than whoever you're looking at in the mirror. So it demonizes at one time or another black people, gay people, just any group that they see fit to do so. And quote-unquote family values populations, like what her name is, Green something, who keeps getting divorces and is the epitome of this contradiction in terms, have been screaming about the word grooming. Now, if you're not aware of this, it is when people online and or in person try to continually insert themselves into a person's life to have a manipulative control position with them. And it's mostly, not exclusively, but mostly associated with illegal activity with people under 18. The vast majority of people who do this are people who are in the neighborhood, know the person, know their family, is a friend of the family, or insinuate themselves into being a friend of the family as a trusted position so that they can exploit the situation. This includes teachers, preachers, lots of people, Boy Scout things, priests. The majority of groomers and violators that you find in the news, if you read it, lately have been religious people and political people. And the usual header is not a groomer. Or, more accurately, not a drag queen. The vast majority of these occurrences are among heterosexuals. Whether you like hearing that or not is not relevant. It's not transgenders, it's not drag queens, it's not burlesque performers that are simply doing a traditional thing in theater of dressing up as either gender for whatever the role requires, or people who specifically do dress differently. Just because people are different than you doesn't mean that you should ever let yourself be tempted to demonize. Yes, I'm quoting something that was originally in Latin. You might want to look it up. Translate it. Do not be tempted to demonize the other. Let's move on. You used the word groomer. You decided it was a drag show. And every other dog whistle instead a bunch of people who are currently being literally demonized in several news sources as being not human enough and worthy of being murdered. That's what it is. You don't like that? I don't care. And then you made the claim that it's the liberals that are threatening to kill all the conservatives. There's literally over a decade worth of evidence on the internet that's still sitting there, people don't even delete it, of ostensibly conservative people, usually with the word truther or patriot or Christian in their login name, saying they're going to go kill a bunch of liberals for voting. In person, I witnessed this because people who said they were poll workers, I kept joking about them, isn't that a kind of a stripper euphemism? They were poll watchers, oh, you go to the strip joint. These were people who were trying to prevent anyone in Portland from voting. Were intimidating people, walking around with batons at one time, clubs, baseball bats, and didn't like that me and other people dressed up in, I don't know if anybody sees this as familiar. I hope I don't ruin your image, but I made it to where I was taller, wore a special set of shoes. There weren't platforms. It made me look like a tall, lanky guy in tactical gear, mostly airsoft stuff. You might have seen a video of me. That was me. Anyway, intimidating people who are trying to intimidate people who are voting. And then when I was filmed, intimidate people at a protest by preventing them from getting to anyone to hurt them. The intimidation factor here came from them either threatening to have a gun or threatening to record people and dox them and go chase them down, that sort of thing. These were people who were hunting, who are predatory, attacking people who were, in some cases, just walking down the street. But those being conservatives, they're the ones being harassed. And this cry-bullying bullshit's got to stop. So, Brandon, yes, this is the comment to you. Why did you dog whistle things that you can double check and find out you're wrong about? Period, full stop. The majority of people who die from firearms, from a bullet, are suicide using pistol. Yes or no? This is something you can just go check. The vast majority of shootings do not involve rifles and shotguns. When it's mass shooters, the vast majority of mass shootings, because they don't want to count them, are drive-bys using handguns. Just bump firing a 9mm, I think you can look up facts that are disprovable or provable. They're falsifiable. What is falsifiable about the claim that the intent of that person over there that I'm demonizing and protesting for some reason, who's at a coffee shop reading poetry, and because it's a coffee shop, it doesn't have an age limit, so you're saying all ages grooming? The drag show? No, there are local artists that show up and read poetry or read their book. They're reading stories. Yes, I guess you could call that drag queen story time, but really it's a person reading the book they wrote. A bunch of conservatives got angry about a little while ago. Yes, I'm being disjointed. You can go ahead and critique this. Got angry a little while ago because they found out liberals can buy firearms. The very large number of very quiet, not putting a gun rack in your car, not putting a "I have a gun" note anywhere. The vast majority of people buying guns during the pandemic were liberals because they found out, yeah, maybe I need one because this is starting to look a little too much like Mad Max. Yes, I'm notorious for being a pipe gun geek, mostly from video games, but literally learning that honestly they're more practical, in many cases more safe, because you have to treat them differently. It's not so easy to fire them. You have to actually be intelligent about it. More importantly, paranoid about your safety and everybody else's. Just like anybody who operates a gun, you spend the vast majority of your time trying not to shoot something. I had people walk up to me on the street where I am now during the pandemic. I said one time, but it's been several dozen times, asking me how to build a shotgun. Because it's still the easiest, safest, and most legally safe thing to do in Oregon to get a firearm. It's low pressure. It's easier to build. You can't screw it up too easy. There's only a few finer details that I don't discuss in the videos, all at once anyway. Sondoran Desert Institute versus build it out of stuff. There's 100 videos that you can look up. One's cheaper than the other, just a bit. But I like Brandon Herrera's channel. Gun meme review and everything like that. Edgy humor is fine. This wasn't edgy humor. This is you repeating shit that makes things worse. Well, I'm not responsible. Yes, you are. I'm responsible. I'm held responsible if I tell somebody something that has an influence on them. You have an influence. You're an influencer now. And you can have an effect on people. And telling them that Republicans are the persecuted minority when they're trying to prevent people from voting and overtly restricting our rights everywhere. But you're what? But you're what? Freedom. I'm sure you're going to fixate on this if you even care about my video. What are the liberals taking from you? Well, and then it's immediately gun control, which I think is bullshit. I don't think it's going to work, but honestly, I don't care anymore. It's a depressing world, and I've lost hope. You can feel it, can't you? But then I see Brandon Herrera repeat something that's demonstratively untrue about an entire class or group of people that are getting murdered in other countries, that are having laws presented to punish them for simply not wearing clothing that meets a standard that's so vague that if I wear the wrong color bandana on my top hat, my fedora, I go to jail for cosplaying a girl or something. And then you repeat the bullshit meme that emboldens the conservatives by saying they're being hunted because of their beliefs. Not being allowed to stop me from voting in Portland and finding out that I was the guy wearing the particular outfit to make sure demanding my ID would not work. And more importantly, hitting me wouldn't work. And more important than that, me zip tying a bunch of asshats years ago so that they couldn't interfere with voters, or being I got simped at one time, they don't know it's me, wearing an outfit where I made myself taller and looked really cool looking, intimidating the hell out of people, trying to go in to intimidate other people. When you stop giving lip service to the group of people that started it, we're good. No, it wasn't the liberals threatening to kill the conservatives. I don't know how you're getting that kind of twisted logic. No, it's not grooming by transgender people or people cosplaying as being the opposite sex, as I call it, otherwise known as, drag queens and drag kings. They're not yet. This is a minority of the population. The majority of cases like that you're talking about are friends and relatives of the family that has the abused victim. It's just like suicides are the most common gun violence, so we don't talk about it because making laws that don't do any good is easier to do. You're fixating on something that's not the problem, and you're going out of your way not to look up that you're wrong. Please correct this in a video, and then don't do it again. Or ignore me. You're already ignoring the facts, right? Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And by the way, Epstein hung out with Trump a lot more than you might know. So don't do it based on it only working one way. And yes, they should release the list. It would clear a lot of this crap out, I think.